it up to some questions. Please raise your hand. And I'll call on you. Charlotte?
Hi, Kurt. How was it to finally get a day off and get to take a breather as you head into a game with a little bit more days for preparation? Excuse me.
Yeah, it's a brutal stretch, that 9 and 19. So a much deserved and much earned day off. So happy the players were able to get some time away from basketball, decompress, mental health day, certainly for the players, but also some of my assistant coaches who've been grinding like crazy. So it's a long time in coming, and felt really, I'm happy that they got a day off.
Alexa?
Hey, Kurt, with actually 2 days of practice going into the next game, and then obviously you'll have that long break next week, what are some of the areas that you're hoping to address in practice? I know you guys are probably preparing for, game specific stuff for New York, but in terms of on your own end with the team, what are the areas now that you actually do have practice time that you're hoping to tweak or to work on?
Yeah, today and tomorrow, still a lot of New York prep, since they're so different than the rest of the league and play a unique style. So we truly have to invest time in our preparation specifically for New York. But now you see light at the end of the tunnel to self-scout, and you can go back and clean things up. There's a little slippage in things, both on the offense and defensive end every game. Every team exploits something a little bit differently. Now you can go back and really combine some of the things that have hurt you through the other games and start to think about working on those things. And then also, what can you add? What haven't you been able to add that you wanted to add, because there's just not practice time. So it was nice. It was nice to be able to get up and down the floor today and not worry about their legs. Coming back off of a day off and another day of prep and another day of shoot around. It just felt, like you weren't, as a coach, you weren't worried about everything you were doing because of their recovery. So it's fun to be back in practice, light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of self-scouting coming up here when after the New York game, we have another break.
Brendan?
Hi, Coach. Specifically looking back at the game the other night, and Dawana, it seemed obvious she was very frustrated because she couldn't get her game going, but per usual impacted the game on the glass and also distributing. What's it like watching her? Do you have to, it really goes for any player, I guess. Do you have to pull anyone aside during a game when it might not be Dawana's night scoring the ball? What's it like in terms of how she makes decisions and realizes it might not be her night scoring?
Yeah, I complimented her in the locker room after the game. I thought she did a terrific job, and actually was absolutely contrary to what you just said. I thought she didn't show frustration. I thought that she understood all the attention that was going to her was leading to other opportunities for other people. And she became very much a facilitator and sacrificed some of the shot attempts. That's not always the case with some of the stars around the league. And that they could be totally different attitude when they're not getting their attempts. Dawana stayed really, really as a team player and understood that how much attention was being given to her, and that she was impacting the game because of that attention. And again, she had 5 assists from the forward position. With all that attention, was really important for us throughout the evening.
Thank you.
Mike?
Hi, Kurt. Now that you guys are about a third of the way through the season, what have you learned from this team so far?
Yes, certainly that our calling card is defense and rebounding, and we have a chance to be really special at that end of the floor. Proud of their preparation, proud of them with our start. It's amazing that our starting lineup did not have 1 day of training camp together, our entire starting lineup. So the adversity that we were put in with some of the international leagues ending late, it is just remarkable that we were able to get off to the start that we were able to. So really, just really proud that of their confidence, of their preparation when they were here. True professionals. The bench has to take some of the minutes off the starters as we get into these stretches where we play so many games in a short period of time. We've got to clean some things up offensively, but our identity's been through the paint. And when we establish the paint, our threes become easier. So, defense and rebounding is going to be our calling card. And can we continue to be impactful those areas and win when we don't have our A game offensively?
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. It's nice to officially meet you. It was fun to call your game the other night. I'm excited to do it again on Saturday. In rewatching that game, when Vegas went on a couple runs, how did you like the way your team responded in those moments? And then is there anything that you saw rewatching it that you thought maybe we can clean that up?
Always offensive execution is on my mind as an offensive coach. Not only getting stop runs, but good offensive execution stops runs. Our game management at the end of the game was much better than in Minnesota. We just made so many mistakes down the stretch in Minnesota, especially with our offensive execution, starting plays early, taking tough shots, still with 12 to 14 seconds on the shot clock. So our game management was much better. You felt a calmness about us in those last 2 minutes, even as they made one last run at us. It was much better than in Minnesota. But again, there's so many weapons on Vegas, considering what we did against Raquana, considering that we've already won that series against what everyone perceives as the preseason favorites, and they seem to have been crowned champions already. Just really pleased that we've already won that series.
Doug, you'll be the last question for Kurt. Doug, are you on mute? You need to unmute if you're asking a question. Never mind, Doug just left. So Kurt, you're all set.
Thank you.
Alexa?
Hey, Beatrice. Kurt has said a few times that he's hoping to get more out of the bench moving forward. So what sorts of things are you working on, especially in this little bit of a break before your next game? And then also when you guys probably have, that full week before the next game after Saturday, what are the sorts of things you're working on to continue to get more comfortable on the court?
Just in practice week, today we actually went against each other. That gave us more confidence going at the starters. Honestly, just, in order for us to get more out the bench, just coming in the game, giving energy, doing what I do best, rebounding, running the floor, just doing what I do best and doing that in practice and it translates to the game.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Other questions for B? Charlotte?
How's it been having the first kind of start of a regular season as opposed to the bubble last year? Just how your thoughts on that and all the travel, and then finally getting a little bit to reflect on that.
Overall, I think it's pretty good. Just having that experience, going from traveling and going from game to game. I'm enjoying it. It's better than when I was in the bubble. We get to see other cities, travel. I'm with my team. I can't complain.
What's been the most unexpected part of that so far?
I don't really know, to be honest, but nothing really stood out, I guess.
Thank you.
Annie?
Hi, Coach was talking about how preparing for New York is so much different than preparing for any other team in the league because they play so differently and unique. What are some of the things that he's just stressed in this first practice back? You had a little break and now you get to come back with a fresh mind. Is there anything in particular that was being stressed a little bit extra in practice today?
Just the post, being out more because they play a 5-out, just getting lower and defending is one of the keys. And then other than that, pretty much we're playing our game.
Okay, if there's no other questions for B, we will conclude for her today and send in Dawana. Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up to some questions. Everyone, please raise your hand and I will call on you. Alexa?
Hey, Dawana, hope you had a good day off. What are some of the things that you guys, I know you're starting to focus a little bit on New York, but just that now that you actually have 2 days of practice before the next game, what are some of the things you all are working on just to tweak things, tune things up, now that you actually have some actual practice time on the court?
I think just our defensive schemes. Excuse me. New York is a really good team. They're playing really well right now. So we're just trying to lock down and focus in on what we need to do and how we can guard them, slow them down a little bit. So I think if we buy into that and, have a solid game plan, I think we have a really good chance of, at least trying to slow Benai Jelani. Sabrina's playing way, very, very well. Sammy, they have a really good team. So we're just trying to buy in defensively.
And I know Kurt has talked about this team's calling card and identity is definitely going to be on the defensive end, but how do you feel about where the offense is at, especially with some of the teams, as the season goes on, playing you guys differently and, whether or not that means congesting the paint or whatnot. How do you feel about just where the offense is at in general?
I think if we move the ball, we have so many offensive weapons on the floor. If we move the ball side to side, it's really hard, to guard us. But sometimes we get stuck and we have really good, individual players. So you kind of tend to, fall in that habit of, trying to do a lot of one-on-one. But we have such a great team that if we move the ball side to side, doesn't matter what kind of defense it is. I think that's just an advantage of what we have right now.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Danny?
Hi, Dawana. I'm new. I got to call your game the other night, and I'm excited to call it this weekend as well. But I'm just curious what you did with your day off. My goodness, you guys were on a full-on, I don't even know, traveling circus at this point. You well-earned, deserved day off. What'd you do?
Oh man, I did a little primping. I did my hair.
As you should.
Different things at this point you need to have a little girl time. So I didn't do much. I'm not a person to do much anyway, especially when I get a little bit of off day, but I just did a little bit of girl stuff.
Can you feel the difference today though? Do you feel like you woke up a little bit fresher? Because sometimes it's just a mental break.
Y'all man, we had to have a day off in a while, and then we had to come back to a full practice. We haven't even had a practice either. Because usually we're prepping for the next game the next day and we have an extra day in between. So it was kind of weird. We got spoiled a little bit. We was like, man, we actually got to practice today. So
That's awesome.
it's just a different schedule and I like it.
Any other questions for Dawana? All right.
All right, guys.
Mike, you'll be the last question.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, sorry, one more. Now that you're about a third way through the season, what have you and the rest of the team kind of learned about your group and how you're playing so far?
Just how versatile we are. I think we just got some great players, and our defense is suffocating when we all on the same page. We have some great defensive players in Jasmine and Brian, and we just kind of feed off them. You have JJ with the rim protection. You have Breezy, who's just banging. Let me stop. Let me go back. Let me talk about Breezy. One of the best teammates that I ever played with, man. She just battles every single night. And she gets looked over a little bit on the stat sheet, but if we didn't have that person to guard, Liz, and yes, she had 28, but the way Breezy battled every single night with Liz, she had Sylvia. She had the tall post player from Seattle, every single night, and that's the tough job. And we asked a lot of her. Just she's, to me, that's the staple of our defense. That's the staple of our offense. She's just so smart. So just how we buy in defensively is just amazing. But if we didn't have Brianna Jones, I think we'll be in a lot of trouble.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thanks, Dawana. You're all set for today.